what would you say is the most useless thing you've ever made that you were the most proud of making? Welcome to the Beat Around the Bench podcast about woodworking, good times, and general jackassery. With your host, Jess of Jess Build It, Colton of Cold Crate, and Ross of RNC Woodworking and Designs. You can find us all on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. In this week's episode, we have Nemo of Nemo's Power Tools and the Grabo. Nemo takes us through his industry-changing technology. Jess cleans up and braces for impact. And Ross heeds his own advice to work smarter and not harder. All of that and more is coming right up on this episode of the Beat Around the Bench podcast. Now for episode 77, Fear and Loathing in Lignum Vitae. For today's guest, we're joined by Nemo Rotem of Nemo's Power Tools, a man so deep he once won a staring contest with his own reflection. Nemo, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I will be the first to admit I only recently looked into what Nemo's Power Tools was, but before we dive into that, do you want to give a little elevator pitch for, who you are and all about the Power Tools?
Yeah, I mean, I'm humble engineer slash maker. I'm originally from Israel, but I spent the last, I spent 4 years in China, building some factories there, and now I'm based in the U.S. Yeah, I mean, I build things, I invent things, and some of them turn out to be products that people like to use.
Okay. And so just to kind of dive into things, and no pun intended here, the one thing I was most amazed at when I looked at the line of your tools, all of them had the listing of underwater capability. Can you tell us, the thought of you, the only thing I can think of is if somebody is like an underwater diver, or if they are working on like oil rigs or something, they need tools down there. But like, where does that come in as far as a need?
Yeah, that's pretty niche. So yeah, that's one of the brands that my company makes. Hence the name Nemo. It's actually not named after me. It's we thought it's a suitable name for a line of submersible underwater tools. Um, it started from my partner and I have a partner. His name is Oleg. He's a great engineer. I've been working with him for a long time, and a few years ago, someone from the Navy came up to us and kind of approached us and asked us to design an floater that would make a real submersible. I guess they wanted to make, to do some work underwater. They couldn't use any of the hydraulic or pneumatic tools that usually type of tools that you would use underwater. And it was, it was a project that we kind of, I would say, advise and build a prototype for. And we actually learning a little bit about this topic. We kind of did some research, and we realized that there aren't any electrical portable tools that work underwater. And we started thinking that maybe there's a need in the market for something like this. So we did some digging around. We went to some trade shows, and yeah, a lot of people basically said that there is an unmet need in the market for this niche of submersible underwater portals. Mainly, we're talking about like commercial divers, oil rigs, people working on mechanical infrastructure in marinas, anything that's underwater or around water. So although it's a niche, but I would say it's still it's still needed, and the people who need it really need it. Because the only alternatives for these tools are basically large hydraulic machines or sometimes pneumatic machines. There's all kinds of limitations for this.
Wow, that's unbelievable to me that they didn't have it before then. I mean, I know people that are certified divers and stuff like that, and underwater welding and all that different stuff. And I know I would have just assumed that they would have tools that worked underwater that were portable, but I
Huh.
guess they didn't. You got to. I saw that they had like reciprocating saws and um, hole
Yeah,
brushes and all kind of neat stuff like that. That's so neat. That's
yeah.
how
It was
deep did they
started from
go?
grills, and we went. Well, we designed and built like anything that you would find from, name your favorite brand of power tools, Milwaukee, DeWalt, whatever it may be. So today we have just a line of disposable tools. We have refrigerating saws, SDS rotary hammers, grills, brushes, and anything and everything. And yeah, people still use some of the large kind of hardcore like hydraulics and pneumatics.
Hmm.
But when you want to work on something that's a little bit more lightweight, um, and you don't want to carry around the large, the hose to the pneumatics and all
Yeah.
that, air tools, they're much more suitable for a lot of the work that people do on the web. And it's one side of the
Underwater.
business. The other side is Grabo that we can talk about as well. But that's basically where it started, all the underwater power tools. Yeah.
What's
So
the
what's the
depth
other
those
side?
can? What's
Yeah.
the depth they can go to? By the way.
So basically, it started from the submersible tools. That's what brought me to China originally. Um,
Okay.
I thought he was going to, this was 2014. I thought he was going to be in China for a couple of weeks, find some suppliers, factories, find somebody to manufacture or design, and I ended up staying for about 4 years. Living there, setting up the factory, setting up an operation, um, and today we have two factories, one in Shenzhen, one in Huizhou, and we're working hard on trying to move the production over to the US. That's the most important kind of goal for the next couple of years. And for today, after we get to a point where we, we're kind of we got to the saturation point with the underwater particles. Again, it's like it's not huge, not
Yeah.
not everybody needs, a $2,000 submersible drill that works at 300 feet.
Or
Um,
$3,000 grinder.
right, right.
So,
Um,
what is the other arm of the company then?
so the other
Or what
arm
is
of
the other
the
side?
company is something called the Grabo. Grabo is a lifting product. It's for material handling, very
Okay.
popular in the flooring industry. Um, Also used a lot in woodworking. You guys are probably familiar with Easy Swan and
Yeah.
his videos. He's kind of the first person that I know of from the woodworking side of things that found our tool, the Grabo. Prior to that, it was mainly used for just flooring, setting tiles. It's basically an electric vacuum lifter that attaches to multiple surfaces. So not only smooth and completely non-porous surfaces like glass, but any constructive surface. So we're talking about like drywall, plywood, roof tiles, pavers, all of that. And this is today like the main side of the business. This is where we had a lot of growth in the last few years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Spell it. Grabo.
Grabo, yeah, Grabo.
I
Hmm.
think I've seen him with his thing picking up some wood before. I think.
Yeah, he's amazing. He made some accessories and add-ons, and he was super creative. This guy.
Very interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, Izzy is so creative to make so many different accessories. But like, so I have seen, um, I've seen quite a few people using these products, and just to explain it to those who have never seen it before and they're listening and wonder what it is. eh, Correct me if I'm wrong, Nemo. It's essentially
Mhm,
almost like a vacuum suction cupped handle that
mhm.
uses electric power to then suction cup on, so you have somewhere to be able to grab things, make it more accessible to carry materials or whatever you're doing, right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can imagine if you're a tile setter and you need to lay, a large number of tiles on the floor. The way they used to do it before, especially if the tile is rough, is surfacing. can't really, there isn't really an easy way to grab onto it, right? Um,
Yeah.
so you got to use your fingers, get dirty and get underneath it. So the Grabo is, as you said, it's a powered vacuum lifter um, that provides a handle for any flat material, basically.
Now, does that work? Obviously, I know it works on things like tile. I know it works on things like field stone and obviously larger pieces. Does Is there a porous level that the material has to be to where it will no longer pick it up? So, for instance, with like MDF, I know you can use that for a vacuum table on a CNC because it is so porous, whereas tile is so closed cell. Is there a limit to that?
Right. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, there is a limit. With current models, the flow rate is 20 liters per minute. So plywood would generally okay. Drywall, gypsum boards, for a certain level of porosity in the material, it will hold. But yeah, above a certain level, it's not going to hold it. We are working on a new version for the Grabo Play 2, which is specifically made for outdoor pavers, which
Okay.
are extremely porous. I mean, they make them so that water will sit in, and
Yeah.
they intentionally make those very porous. So the same high flow version does pick up a lot of the materials that you mentioned that are too porous for the normal thermal.
And what is I don't know if it's pounds per square inch or total pound weight that it can pick up? Like, what is the tension ability and the weight capacity of the Grabo?
Mm. Yeah, so collagen I think in a matrix system, so it's a 0.8 bars basically. It's close to it's not a perfect vacuum, obviously. And the subject in the field, the weight that you can hold with the Grabo, assuming that the material is not extremely porous, can go to like 370 pounds would be the upper safe limit. Now we do test it
Per handle?
in the lab to like a higher level, but the safe limit capacity is around
Is that a per handle limit? So if you have two
that's
handles,
that's one unit. That's one Grab. I don't know if we're doing a video on this podcast, but I have a couple of them here. Um, well, you saw them before, right?
yeah.
This is our version that's been in the market for a while now, and we're now working with Devote actually,
Oh,
and we're
nice.
making the Devote version that just came out literally a few days ago, was announced.
That's awesome. Congrats to you. That's huge.
I just
Thanks.
bought
With it's we're pretty excited about this. We've been working with them for a very long time. It was kind of in the down low. We were under NDA,
Yep.
and we're now making it in the same factory by the same team. And yeah, it's doing well.
That's awesome.
I just bought flooring for my house a few months ago, and some of the tiles now are,
Mhm.
I mean,
They're
like
massive.
I there was 30 by 30 tiles that are like 5/8 thick, like marbles, and they're porcelain, and I can't imagine like trying to level that and trying to hold on just to the lip, especially once you get it set. So this is perfect, absolutely perfect.
Yeah, I mean, and countertops and yeah, there's large format styles and granite countertops and yeah, all of these things. I mean, like the number of, like the best thing that I love getting those emails from people who use the product and are just saying, this makes our job so much easier because it's just some of these things. It's not necessarily that they're heavy, it's just they're bulky and bulky.
Yeah.
Right, and when you have a thin roll that you can put anywhere on the material and kind of move it around, it just makes it so much easier for
Yeah,
That's
professionals.
awesome.
expensive materials you're trying to be precise with. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, Nemo, before we continue on, and I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, but one of the things we like to do when we have a guest is we like to get to know them with a little bit of rapid fire trivia. And by that, we mean it is a 3 minute time frame. And the goal is for you to answer as many questions as you can. They're all yes or no questions, I believe. Jess will allude to that, but
yeah, we'll keep it yes or no. So take it easy
so
on him.
the goal would be to answer as many as you can in 3 minutes. There are no wrong answers, and the goal is to just learn a little bit about you. So
also, you're allowed to expound if you would like, but that's going to eat up your time. So
Sounds
correct.
good.
Okay.
So, do you have any questions before we start?
Nope.
Okay, Jess, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, 3 minutes, Nemo, starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
If you could choose any animal to be your permanent sidekick, which animal would it be and why?
It's not a yes or no question.
I
Yeah.
know.
Let's see. Let's see. Bird. I think it's easy to take care of. Kind of takes care of itself. I guess it needs food. Right?
Okay.
Gotcha. If you were a superhero, what would your superpower be?
Ooh, I would want to speak all the languages in the world. I don't know if there's a superhero that does that, but I'm going to invent a new superpower and just like
And
knowing
what
every
would be
language there is.
what would be your weakness?
My weakness, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be able to fly. That's
That's fair.
Okay.
possible.
If you could time travel, but only to last Thursday, what would you do differently?
What did I do last Thursday? I probably look up the stock market and just like go all in on one of the stocks that went up in the last couple of days.
All right,
There
I
you go.
like it. Would you rather have a rewind button or a pause button for your life?
Ooh, definitely a rewind button. Definitely.
What's the funniest thing you've ever said or done that you're willing to share?
I mean, that depends on the definition of funny. Huh? I mean, when I was in high school, I built I built a little wallet that electrocutes you, basically freaks you when you open it, and I put it in my bag, hoping that somebody will steal it at some point. But nobody stole my wallet from my bag, so so eventually I was just like, I want to see what happens, so I put it on the floor, and a teacher picked it up and opened the wallet and got zapped by like 300 volts. That
That's
was pretty funny.
fantastic. That is pretty funny. Uh,
1 minute.
if you were a fruit, which fruit would you be?
I would be damn, that's a tough one. Um, I don't know, man. Strawberries were pretty nice.
Okay. All right. And if what would be the title of the movie about your life? Don't say Finding Nemo.
Nah, that's the obvious one. I feel, I feel like something like Forrest Gump would be an adequate one. I feel like my life has been kind of like falling ass backwards into being successful for no apparent reason while being a little bit slow.
All right, last question. If you could instantly become an expert in something, what would it be?
Management. I'm not a good manager, and I would totally want to kind of learn how to do that
Amen.
properly.
Amen to that. We got time
3,
for one more?
2, 1.
And that was it. All right, very good. We'll know a little more about Nemo now.
Excellent.
Yeah, I
will
know
say
you said yes or no. I just tricked you.
Yeah, you sure did. You put in some long-winded questions in there.
Well, I wanted to get to know him.
I like it. So, Nemo, I actually wanted to ask you. You mentioned obviously you have this Forrest Gump capability, as you quoted, where you've been able to kind of fall into success, as it were. My question would be: you said initially you started designing some things, not only from this wallet that electrocuted you, all the way to going over to China. What's that? Have you always been an engineer? Have you always been tinkering and building things? Like, what started you on this path?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always been a geek. I don't know if I've always been an engineer. That came later on, just going into engineering school and kind of doing that. But I always like tinkering with things, working in my garage, building things like model airplanes and like a little bit of woodworking around the
Yeah.
house. That's something I enjoy doing.
What would you say is the most useless thing you've ever made that you were the most proud of making?
So, most useful. I mean, I made a lot of useless things in my day. Um, So recently, I'm very enthusiastic about like UAVs, drones. So I've been building those very long distance drones that fly for like 100 miles on
Wow.
batteries, which is totally illegal. So I don't know if we should kind of put it out there in the open. So
We'll just change it to
uh,
2 miles. Yeah, gotcha.
like the FAA ruling, you gotta have a line of sight.
Yes.
So, but I have really good eyesight. So 100 miles,
Yeah.
I
I
got
can
you.
see
It's
them going
curvature of
for
the
100
earth. Yeah,
miles.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But it's totally useless. But I love it. It's really fun.
So,
Okay.
so when you got it flying 100 miles, are you obviously is you're programming it to go somewhere and then come back? I got you.
Yeah. It's like a waypoint mission. You just give it like a GPS coordinates and yeah, kind of going
So
all the way there.
at one point, I went to aviation school to become an A&P mechanic, and at the time, they had still not gotten like they had asked the FAA maybe a decade before to give them like especially Amazon and people like that, like we want the rules that you want to give us for drones, basically, so that they could start doing whatever they needed to do within the rules. And the FAA had still not gotten their crap together to give them the information, and they were still waiting on it. I guess now there's some FAA
Yeah.
rules about it.
I mean, uh, we should have the FAA. It's not that regulation has its place, but a good friend of mine is the CEO of a company called Flightworks. They're trying to do drone deliveries. And
Right.
it's a serious company. They're out there doing deliveries. But the FAA is like the one thing in terms of technology, it's them. I mean, it's spot on. They can pick up those packages and drop it in your backyard with like 99.999% like accuracy and
Hmm.
efficiency and all that. It's all about just the going through the red tape and the regulation
Yeah.
and getting it done. So hopefully it's getting there.
I've seen some
Okay.
pretty cool stuff with drones in China where they do like fireworks that are drones. It's just
Oh.
drones in the air. It looks like
Oh, I've seen like a drone show. Yeah.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Um,
These are
so
amazing.
Nemo, to kind of bring it into the Grabo, and what was the path of, hey, I started building some tools and I saw a need for submersible tools to then transition over to the Grabo? Was that just a, hey, I see another need, or was this something you had always thought of, or what kind of sparked that for you?
Mm. So this is a kind of a weird path that they took to get to the Grabo. With the underwater partners, it was we see a need in the market, let's try to do it, and we know that somebody needs it. The Grabo was completely different. So I was in Hong Kong at the time. My factory was in Canton, right across the
Yeah.
border to Hong Kong, and I went rock climbing with a few friends of mine. Um, couple of women that some like in shape and they're climbers, they know what they're doing, and I'm not a great climber, and
Yeah.
it can really hit your ego going on a trip like that with some girls
Yeah.
who really know what they're doing and kind of kick your
Absolutely.
ass. I was looking at the rocks there and kind of these formations, and I was sort of thinking like, whether or not there need to be physical way of pushing something to a rough surface. And this kind of, this engineering challenge is what drove me to start playing around with prototypes. And within a few days, I built the first prototype of the Grabo, still not thinking about any sort of use case in the industry. I was just thinking about playing. Um, and yeah, after building a couple of prototypes and showing it around, some people pointed out and said, this is the planning thing is nice, but first of all, I mean, you don't want to sell this product because of the liability. You don't want to have people scaling buildings and playing
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Mhm. But in the construction industry, a lot of folks could really use something like this. And
Yeah.
my partner came in and really helped to bring it together into kind of like a really nice looking product. That's kind of how it started.
So let's talk about not only product development, but then starting to get it out to market. Obviously, you've now, kudos to you once again for releasing the DeWalt version of your product. But like, what was the path to market for you guys? Like, how, if let's see if there's a way to kind of translate this. If somebody has come up with a new product or uh, an iteration of something that they think is feasible, what was your path to market with this?
Yeah, so um, I'd say a lot of people make the wrong assumption and think that like the idea is the important part, and once you like invent a good product, everything is smooth sailing from there. But it's like that thinking about a good idea and even building a prototype is maybe 20% of the way, and everything you just mentioned is the 80%. So uh, going into production, obviously, also very important. But we have a lot of experience with moving products from idea to production. We already had
Yeah.
the factory set up, but bringing the people to market, so this was a lot of going to different trade shows. And initially, I mean, we didn't even know what type of trade shows to go to. So,
Yeah.
do we go to glass trade shows or woodworking or flooring or world of concrete?
Hmm.
So I just went to all of them. And it's not like we had, funding. We never raised any VC money or anything like that. So everything had to be self-funded, just from the cash flow that we had from the unused mortals. So this was a good like 2 years um, of being extremely lean. For the first year, I just flew over myself to those trade shows, getting the cheapest hotels, motels
Yep.
that I could find in every location,
Hmm.
getting the smallest booth possible. Some of the trade shows, I didn't even get a booth. I just walked in with some business cards and a
Yeah.
prototype, and really try to reach out to as many potential buyers, potential dealers and distributors as I could,
Yep.
showing them the product, trying to convince them to try it out. And it's kind of weird that, like, a lot of people think that they have a particular idea, but if they have a really good idea for a product, somebody will steal it.
Yeah.
But, running is obviously a very good idea because people are buying it, right? And, DeWalt made it one of their own products. So we sold hundreds of thousands of units. It's but it felt like we need to shove it down people's throats at the beginning because like
Of
before it's out
course.
there, before people realize what the machine really does, it's really hard to get them to figure it out. So it was a lot of just um, like going to those territories, putting it in people's hands, trying to find the opinion leaders in different industries and tuning in on product market fit on where's like the exact type of user that would benefit the most from this kind of product.
And go ahead, Jess.
Well, I was gonna say they made for years. I know they made hand pump style grabbers for like granite glass companies, especially
Mm,
glass companies.
mm,
I don't know how strong they were, but I know that people kind of knew of that. I think it's
mm.
great that you came up with the battery powered one. I think that was just like the
Yeah, so
next
the
natural
the
progression
manual
for it.
suction cups have been around for I don't know how long, but for a very long time. There's a great company, a great American company, Woods Power Grip.
Yeah.
Um, Great folks. It's a family-owned business, and they make manual suction cups, very high quality. The manual suction cups are great for glass, right? So if you have a surface that is clean and smooth and completely non-porous, the manual suction cups will do the job. It
Yeah.
does take a little bit of a little bit of work of just pumping it down, but then that's fine for this. With everything else, anything that is non-fluent, so anything that's textured or anything that's slightly porous, those manual suction cups just simply don't work.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
uh, they might work on some very smooth grounds, other than this, but it's about it. Now, the majority of the sources that Grabo is used on, the manual suction cups just don't don't do the trick. So it's like the only way of really handling this.
So in the iteration for DeWalt that you guys are making that just released, is that using the same DeWalt batteries that you'd use for your cordless drills, or is it just a standard 9 volt? Like what's powering your small vacuum?
So for the main Grabo that's been in the market since 2019, we have our own battery system. It's a small, it's a 4-cell lithium battery cell that we make, and it's replaceable. For the DeWalt one, obviously DeWalt wanted the Grabo to use their own battery, so it's standard DeWalt battery, and whoever has the DeWalt
Yeah,
system can use any battery, any DeWalt battery on their part of Grabo.
that's awesome. That's
That's really
awesome.
cool.
Congrats to you. Now, Nemo, one of the things that we like to do is a little bit of education on this show as well. Would you be interested in learning a little bit about the wood of the week? Yeah?
So, yeah.
All right, here we
Yeah.
go. Let's see if it wants to play. Jingle's not playing as of yet.
Should you sing it?
Wow. There it is.
Wow.
The wood of the week.
All right, so I had somebody give me a bunch of free wood. I don't remember if you remember that, Ross. They gave me all that
Yeah.
free wood, and they gave me some clamps and stuff. And so today I was organizing the shop because there's a hurricane coming, so I was trying to get some stuff moved in. And so I'm going through it, and some of it had this incredible smell to it, just from
A
like
good or
weed
bad
or-
smell?
Good, fragrant, like kind of
Okay.
like old people, maybe.
Okay.
So you take that for whatever you want it to mean. So I took a picture of it and Googled it, and I found out it was camphor. So this week's wood of the week is camphor wood.
Okay.
Camphor wood is obviously people know about camphor oil, and it's been used in medicine, aromatherapy. It comes from places like East Asia, like China, Taiwan, and Japan.
Okay.
And uh, the biggest use of camphor is the oil that they get from it. But it's a beautiful wood. I don't know if you've ever seen it before.
I
It's
have not.
very,
I'm going to look it up.
It's not very hard. 960 pounds on the Jenka scale. So like we're around walnut, like around black walnut.
Okay.
It's kind of like pretty striking, kind of a creamy yellow and rich reddish brown. Really
Yeah.
pretty grain patterns. And there was something in here. Oh, so the one thing about camphor is it's an insect repellent. It's an
Really?
insect repellent.
Can you
So it
spell
is a
it? I want to read about it. So
camphor, CAMPHOR. And so camphor is also used in chests, storage boxes, and wardrobes a lot like we use cedar, right? Because it keeps the moss out and bugs out and stuff like that. Camphor wood has been used to carve traditional Chinese opera masks and other cultural artifacts, as a matter of fact.
Huh.
And since the oils and all that and the scents keep the bugs away, they last a long time, right?
Yes.
You can actually, I've read different stuff. Like some of it says you can use it outside, some of it says you can inside. It has a lot of oils in it, so it does well as far as like rot, decay, and bugs go. But it says notable items made from camphor wood include intricate Japanese tanzu chests, which are traditionally used for storing kimono and other garments. Camphor insect repelling properties made it ideal wood for the choice for these delicate items. And then there's some furniture and interior decor, even some musical instruments made out of camphor. It's quite pretty. Camphor, I think, is used in a lot of different like backache oil stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like I know
Yeah,
there's
like-
mentholatum and stuff like that in them, but some
Like
of them
icy
have
hot
camphor
and
oil.
things like that.
Yeah, some of them have camphor oil in them. If you
Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah,
probably it's
camphor.
resistant to rot and insects as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, pretty
uh,
neat thing. So this week's wood of the week was camphor.
Very cool. Do
Yeah.
you have any
Learned something
trivia
new
to
today.
go along
Thank
with
you.
that?
I do have some trivia to go along somewhat with that.
All right. Let's try it. Let's see if maybe I can best Nemo at some trivia. We'll see
Oh,
what he's got.
let's hope so.
Better get on out that knowledge because it's trivia time.
All right, so since there's a hurricane coming here, and we have like all this crap everywhere. Like, so like I'll save little scraps of wood and then we'll stick them out in the paint booth and then like set stuff on them to paint. And then like the guys will
Yeah.
toss them aside and they kind of get stuck over by the storage container and they get forgotten about or whatever. I
Yeah.
pulled some of them out today, Ross, and they had one of them was a pressure treated piece of 3/4 plywood that was left over from something. And carpenter ants had built like a wall up it, like they wanted to eat it so bad.
Oh.
And they had ate
That's
the wood in
gross.
front of it, which was plywood, furniture plywood. They had eaten a piece of birch butcher block that was left over from cutting a countertop, like all these little pieces of wood. So I chucked them all. So it made me think, what about something that me and you love, Ross, is outdoor woods.
Yes.
Outdoor woods. Woods that go outdoor. So this week's trivia is about outdoor use woods. There is a lot of repeat answers, and some of these are kind of vague. So
okay,
basically like every week.
Okay.
And we will start off with our guest, Nemo, if you're ready. All right. Multiple choice. Which of these woods has a natural resistance to decay due to its high oil content? The highest oil content out of these four. Is it white oak, cedar, ipe, or pine?
I am not a wood expert. This would be a shot in the dark. Pine?
Incorrect. It is Ross.
Ipe.
Ipe, the world's most impossible wood to work with. Smells like farts when you cut it. It's hard. Probably 4 times harder than pine. You can't even really glue Ipe together because of the oil content very well. And it doesn't even float. Float. All right, moving on.
You would
Question
need
number
submersible
2.
tools to work on it.
Yes, you would need submersible tools to build
an underwater
anything.
Ipe bench.
An underwater Ipe, yeah. Which wood is commonly used? Actually, let's skip this one. What makes Western red cedar ideal for outdoor projects, Ross? Is it the high Janka hardness, the low tannin content, the natural insect repelling properties, or the high moisture absorption?
I'm going to go natural insect repelling properties.
That is correct. It is. It is a lot like the wood of the week that we talked about, the camphor. It has natural oils and compounds that repel insects, very high on the tannins, which is also why when you paint it, the red blows through your primer and all that stuff because the tannins, and bugs don't like tannins.
No.
So, all right, moving on. Nemo, you ready? Which of these woods is often used in outdoor settings for its high weather resistance and ability to weather to a silver gray patina? All right. Is it teak, redwood, cedar, or black locust? I'll give you a clue. Boat.
Can you repeat the answers again?
Yes. Teak, redwood, cedar, or black locust?
I would go with teak.
That is correct. Teak. Obviously, that's what they use on boats.
Nemo's on the board.
Yeah, silver gray patina over time, and marine applications for sure. All right, moving on. Let's say there was one of these that was really good. Oh, question: which of these woods is native to the southeastern United States and is known for its excellent decay resistance and use in outdoor settings? Is it Douglas fir, cypress, redwood, or maple?
What is cypress?
That is correct. Cypress. Yes, it smells like awful when you
a rotten swamp.
Like muck fish. And it grows quite fast. It's very abundant, so there's not much of a deforestation of cypress. Moving on. Nemo, which of these woods is often used as an alternative to teak because it's more affordable yet still durable for outdoor use? What's the best answer for this question? Is it redwood, mahogany, eucalyptus, or cedar? Is it
Same again?
redwood, mahogany, eucalyptus, or cedar?
I don't know, cedar.
You're close, but no. It is eucalyptus. It shares a lot of the same properties as teak, and is often chosen as a more cost-effective option in outdoor furniture due to its
There you call like
durability.
a Europa or something that's also like a very good like outdoor
There's a
alternative.
Rocco. A Rocco. I think I've heard of the one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's move on now. Let's move on to question this one. Which wood was commonly used for railways ties, Ross, in the U.S.
railway
due
ties.
to its rot resistance and durability? Is it oak, black locust, cedar, or pine?
I'm going to say cedar.
That's wrong. Very wrong. Black locust, and I've heard that before. Actually, I don't know if they still do it or not, but black locust.
I couldn't tell you where black locust trees grow, let alone how many you would need to do, obviously, the railroad ties the size that they are.
Black locust is.
It's not used for railway.
No, well, it is. No, a lot of times it's pine, honestly, with creosote on them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really what they probably do most of them out of. But I know that they make black locust. Black locust is resistant to decay. They use it at railway ties, fence posts, a lot of different stuff. Black locust grows in the black locust forest.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, Nemo. What gives redwood its natural resistance to decay, making it ideal for outdoor use? Is it its high density? Is it natural tannins? Is it low moisture content? Or is it thick bark? My parents had redwood soffits.
Is it low moisture content?
No, that is incorrect. It is the thing we were talking about before, natural tannins. The redwood contains high levels of tannins, which help to deter insects and prevent decay.
I don't know, man. I mostly just work with balsa wood. And this type of hard
well,
wood.
that's all right. You just listen to our podcast, and you'll get a little education each week.
Well, let's do two more questions then, Jess.
Two more questions. Let's say. All right, here we go. This will bring back one we were talking about. What characteristic makes black locust suitable for outdoor use? Is it high oil content, natural toxicity to insects, low tannin content, high moisture absorption?
I'm going to say natural toxicity to insects.
That is correct. It contains compounds that are naturally toxic to insects, making it an excellent choice for long-lasting health.
So it doesn't need any like chemical treatment or anything. Just
No.
use it as is.
Yeah, just like Ipe.
Yep.
All right, one more. Let's pick a good one. All right, here we go. Which of the following woods is commonly used for outdoor furniture and comes from a tree in the mahogany family? Is it redwood, shoria, hemlock, or cypress? Shoria.
Can you repeat the answers?
Yes. I'll read the whole thing. Which of the followings is commonly used for outdoor furniture and is in the mahogany family? Is it redwood, shoria, hemlock, or cypress?
mahogany was just the type of wood. I mean, I was like mahogany wood is you said mahogany family. It's like
Yes, in the
a
mahogany
stud type.
family. Yeah,
I
there's
give
a lot
up.
of.
I'm throwing in the
It
towel. I
is
have.
it is it is Shoria, which is Philippine mahogany. Uh
I wouldn't have gotten that one either. I had
no,
no idea, Nemo.
there's a
No
lot of
idea.
different mahoganies out there. There's a lot.
I'm
There's
going to
Honduran
go into a
mahogany.
rabbit hole of different types of woods this
Oh,
evening.
it goes on and on forever.
I feel
There,
defeated, and I just need to know everything there is to know about wood right now. I'm going to buy myself. If you can recommend books about wood, I
actually,
would totally buy a
the
couple.
website thewooddatabase.com is like a rabbit hole because each one is connected to the next page and on and on and on. And they actually talked about writing a book. They never did.
Hmm,
But yeah, the wood database is pretty stinking awesome.
Added to my favorites.
nice. So, Nemo, one of the things we like to do each week is wrap everything up with a snugget, which for us would be either a nugget of information. So, say, for example, you could either give some advice to all the young makers out there, or if you could talk to yourself with the knowledge you have now back to when you started, what would you say to yourself? Or, or a snipe, which would be like your, hey, I'm really pissed off about this right now, and you just got to get it off your chest. So give us just a second and you can jump in that, or we can go first.
Nuggets and Snuggets.
When it comes to giving advice to my younger self, I would focus on like you know um, business advice. In this respect, I would say really focusing on just choosing the right people to work with because I mentioned before that it kind of feels like my journey through business feels like the Forrest Gump movie. Like
Yeah.
I'm successful, but through no fault of my own. Um, but that's because I was very fortunate to work with incredible people. So just like vetting and filtering and uh, choosing to spend your time and to work with just the best people that you possibly can.
Okay. That's good advice.
That is
Very good
really good
advice.
advice. That is very good advice. It's easier
Do you,
said than done.
that's true.
True,
Very
true.
easy. Yeah. Obviously easier to be like, yeah, I'm only going to work with the best, but it's hard to find that. So,
And afford it.
yes, there is that. Jess, do you have a nugget or a snipe this week?
I say my nugget this week, especially since I cleaned up, is like when you're like each day, clean up. Each
Yes.
day, clean up. Either end with it or start with it. I usually like to start with it, right? You just want to leave, you're tired. But like if you wake up in the morning and your brain's fresh and clean up, sort things because it just builds up and then it just gets worse and then it snowballs and then you can't find stuff and then you buy something you already have or you have a million little pieces that you thought you would use that you're not going to use, especially in woodworking.
Yep.
And then it just becomes like this big overwhelming mess that takes 2 hours to clean up instead of taking 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So shop
It's a good
clean.
one.
Like,
That's
yeah, take care.
I think that's also a Jordan Peterson advice, and I always like to. I mean, the advice is clean up your room, and I always say clean up your work. That always makes me feel so much better after us
Oh
investing a little
yeah,
bit of time and just working on some cleanup.
Yeah.
absolutely.
My nugget for this week is work smarter and not harder. And by that, I mean, I am working on the trestle part, the joinery for the spalted maple table I've been working on. And I had to cut the cheeks of the trestle of the tenon off, and they are 8 inches deep by 6 inches high. But I had to cut off like almost a half inch on each side. And at first I was doing it with a Japanese saw, and I was like, okay, this is good, but it's taken a long time. And then once I even cut all those pieces off, I still had to then go back and clean it up to make sure it was all even. And I was like, this is stupid. Why am I trying to fight this with hand planes and chisels? Normally, I'm the first one, Nemo, to jump in with hand tools on everything and do it the slow way. But I was like, there's got to be a better way to do it. So I grabbed a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and I made a simple cantilevered jig for my router. And I grabbed a slab flattening bit. And literally within 10 minutes, I had all the joinery cut out. It's all perfect. Yeah, it's all perfect. It's all perfectly level. All I have to do now is go back and sand it, and I'm totally set. So work smarter, not harder. Don't make more work for yourself. Try and be efficient. But yeah, that's my advice. So
I like it.
Yeah. Nemo, do you, if somebody wanted to find any of Nemo's power tools or a Grabo, first and foremost, where can they get it?
The best place to learn about it would be grabo.com. That's grabo.com. Our underwater power tools are all in nemopowertools.com. So
Okay.
Nemo. I know I spell my name with an I, but it's Nemo powertools.com.
Okay. And if somebody wanted to follow you on your journey, are you on social media? If so, where can people find you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not super active on social media. I think I'm probably I'm getting too old for it. I think I don't know what to do with social media. So
That's fair.
mhm.
That's fair. Okay. Jess, is there anything else you want to cover off on before we send things off?
No, just think about everybody over here in Florida and hope.
Yes, and
we got stuff going on here.
For those that are
plenty of work
listening,
if anybody needs some work.
yes, a couple things. First and foremost, we are recording this the night before Hurricane Milton is supposed to make landfall in Tampa, and Jess lives in Greater Tampa. This is, as of right now, the fourth largest hurricane that has ever been tracked in the Northern Hemisphere on this side of the world. And it is obviously pretty scary. So for those that are, to Jess, you and to Ashley, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and whatever you need, please let us know. If anybody is looking to get some work, there is more work than can ever be done anywhere between Florida all the way to the Carolinas. If anybody is looking for kind of just building work, cabinet work, cleanup work, flooring, you name it,
drywall,
reach out to Jess. He has all kinds of need for laborers and skilled laborers and all kinds of things. So first and foremost, to all the people down in Florida, make sure you take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and everybody stay safe. But to all the listeners out there, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button wherever you're listening to this podcast. And thank you very much for tuning in this week. We hope you enjoyed every second of this episode. And if you didn't, please send all your complaints to our carousel of recreational drug-using legal representation at Hunter and Thompson Legal Aids, where their motto is, "We can't stop here. This is Bath Country." In a closed society where everyone's guilty, the only crime is getting caught. In a world of thieves, the only final sin is stupidity. For Jess, Colton, and Ross, and Nemo, this has been the Beat Around the Bench podcast. We will catch you all next time.